Right, so Austin 10, 1932, I think it is. We did a lot of work on it before on the tub and the doors, because they were saloon doors that had been cut off. So this is basically a complete remake of the door, because it's bollocks. Trying to match that shape there, you see. That'll be alright. Most of the trim had been done. I did all the carpets, made the top swages in all the doors, did all of that. Had to cut the body completely in half to get all the door gaps to line up. Rebuilt all the hinges. We've got more than enough length there, we can f around and cut it all down later. We like that. Rebuilt all the dicky seat, had to put all the wings on it, so made the dashboard. Yeah, so basically it came in as the chassis was done, engine was semi-done. So the engine was rebuilt, but no, it had never been run.
Yeah.
I think the bonnets were painted, the wings were painted, the running boards had been done, seats had been trimmed, so the door cards had been done, but none of this on the back had been done. So we had to remake all of that, rebuilt all the wood in the back, redid all the carpets. And basically got the engine running. But unfortunately Dave died, but his son Adi has taken the car over. And he drives it around, potters around, you know, you're 40 mile an hour, top whack.
Yeah.
He was driving it one day and it just stopped dead. It's an older car, probably looking at the condition of the ignition parts. It probably the original ignition parts from the 30s or maybe 40s, something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's the same, it's a bigger engine, but it uses the same distributor as an Austin 7.
Right.
So Lucas normally has dates on them, on all of their parts when they were built, but not so much on the Dizzies. They'll have a number. The distributor body on the later 25 and 45s have got a date on them, but this is very, very early.
Yeah.
DK, I think they're called. So had it transported up here. First port of call was check out what's going on with the ignition. So that's your distributor and coil there. The points gap had opened up massively, so it was probably like 1/8 of an inch, and it should be 15 thousandths of an inch. Normally your points sit on a base plate. You undo your 2 screws or your 1 screw and you move the base plate independent of the distributor to set the points.
Okay.
And the points gap is between that and that. So that should be 15 thousandths of an inch, that gap there between those two. Yeah? And basically it was about there.
Okay.
So it's never ever going to spark across there to make it work.
Yeah.
And the way these points work is you adjust them on that nut there. And it has a little lock nut on the back. They're really fiddly to get through. So I would say his lock nuts come undone. Open that points gap out, which makes everything work harder to try and make the car spark.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
So that is the rotor arm. And that hasn't been hitting anything. That's just burnt away.
Right.
Yeah? Because it's cracked here, look. So it's got hot, cracked. So the way it works is, You've got power into there, which energises the coil. This is called your low tension side. From there, it goes into the distributor to your points.
Yeah.
Okay, which is fed onto that side of the points where that spring tower is. Yeah.
Okay.
So that goes back to earth, the other side of the points.
Yeah.
So as it clicks, as earth's out, yeah, and sends a pulse, the coil's built up all that power inside it, bang, hit earth, spark.
Right.
So that's your high tension side. So your spark goes from the middle of the coil to the middle of the distributor. That is rotating at engine speed, or half engine speed. So your spark's going into there.
Yeah.
So when you say you're setting your timing,
Yeah.
spark's then travelling along there at exactly the right time to hit on each spark plug lead when the piston is coming up to top dead centre.
Yeah.
Hence why it's called a distributor. It distributes the sparks.
Okay.
Okay? But you have what's called a condenser in there, and that controls how long it takes the coil to regenerate for the next spark.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it properly, they don't do it by points gap, it's done by dwell angle.
Okay.
So you have to get a dwell angle meter, and that is your absolute optimum prime
Yeah.
for the coil to send the next spark out at full power.
Okay.
And that can be adjusted on your points gap very slightly. I mean, it'll be down to 1,000 to get the right.
Okay.
So instead of 15,000, you might have to go down to 13,000 to get the dwell angle exactly correct. Much better way of setting points than just sticking a feeler gauge in.
Yeah.
So clearly all of that was basically completely worn out. So first test I did, nothing coming out of any of these plug leads, yeah?
Yep.
But take your coil lead out the centre, so your points are still activating the same. So you pull that lead out the middle of the distributor, run it to earth, and if you wind the car over and it's sparking, you know there's nothing wrong with your ignition system up to that point.
Yeah.
Now, then you put it all back together, and there was nothing coming out of any of the plug leads. So it's either loading up too much electrically, which is your condenser, or this is not, the cap's gone or the rotor arm's gone. And looking at that, see all the cracks in it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you spark, we know the coil's sparking, it's going into there, we're not getting anything back out of any of the plug leads.
Right.
So what it's doing, the spark will find its easiest way out.
Yeah.
So it's tracking back down that crack, crackle, 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 straight back to earth on the centre of the rotor arm.
Yeah.
So that's what was doing that. So that being knackered was all of the problems.
Yeah.
Okay, so rebuilt the distributor, new points, new condenser, new rotor arm, fired it up. Very slow to start and horrible, but it's been sitting for a while, so I'd kind of expect that.
Yeah.
Only running on 3 cylinders. I took all the plugs out, cleaned them all, did your usual checks. Number 4, still not firing, still not firing, still not firing. Where'd you go with that? Next thing to do is, I had a lot of problems with these in the past. They're reproduction Lucas spark plug caps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've all got an ohms resistance in them. It was done for, do you remember in the old days you turn your car radio on and it goes with the noise of the engine? That's why you have condensers, external capacitors and ohm resisted spark plug caps.
Right.
Takes all that crackle out. Yeah, that's why some of your Harleys are fitted with radio static and all of that. So took the plug lead, took the plug cap off number 4, stripped the ignition wire back and just screwed it into the top of the spark plug and fine.
Right.
So so having had trouble with these before, took all 4 of them off and just put your plain metal ones on. Don't know what they were originally, but unless you go and grab hold of a spark plug, it isn't going to make the slightest bit of difference to that.
Yeah.
So then tried the engine. Let's try it now. It's been here all weekend, hasn't been touched. Give it a choke. Should be enough. Where's it gone? Ignition on. It doesn't start. Hate my life. Probably just pump the petrol up where it's been sitting so long.
Does sound very smooth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's always a good engine, and we engine was rebuilt years and years ago and just left. So what we did when we got it was took all the plugs out, put some oil down it, wound it over for a good hour, just to make sure it gets oil pressure up and stuff, you know.
Belt looks quite loose.
What?
The belt looks quite loose.
Yeah, if you read on there, on the top, oh, it's back to front, I'll open the other side of the bonnet. Belt must not be tight. It's never going to be a racing car engine, it's only that big. So after that, double check the timing, which means you have to take the carpet out. There's a timing plate up in there with a mark on the flywheel.
Yeah.
So again, it's a bit like that Austin Healey, it's this thing of the age, it's very, very vague. Yeah. It says find your top dead centre mark and turn the engine backwards about an inch and then set the time in there. It's all about road testing.
Right.
Go out, and if it's pegging down a bit,
yeah,
just creep your distributor a little bit. But that's as good as gold now. And that'll literally just sit there all day long now. Yeah, she's sweet.
Nice. So how do these cars cope with the mixture of new old stock parts or repo parts and...
You can get original, always get original. Always. You can get genuine, original Lucas parts, get them.
Yeah.
That was for the cap, the rotor arm, the condenser and the points, I think it was about 65 quid. Everything that I've ever had that's reproduction parts aren't as good as the originals. Like I say, they've probably been in there since 19 God knows when.
Yeah.
30 something. Don't know when they stopped making this style of distributor, quite early on. But you could, it's run of the mill, and you know, you could get lucky and those parts that are in there now last another 20 years.
Yeah.
Another 30 years, or they might blow up tomorrow. It's just reproduction parts, you know. It's like the points, silly things like you've got to, that goes to a peg inside the distributor. Right, so that's our new rotor arm. That's your points in there. That piece there is that piece there, yeah? That's your lock nut on the back.
Okay.
Okay. Now, being reproduction, they've made the nut size bigger. You can't get a spanner in there to adjust it.
Right.
So you have to do it all with needle nose pliers.
Yeah.
Adjust it and hope you've got that lock nut tight enough. There's nothing else you can do, because that's fixed to that distributor base. That piece there that threads through.
Yeah.
Invariably, as well on those, the thread goes in them. Luckily that one was okay. But you can't get these 1/4 inch. I think they're about 7.5. I don't know what stupid size they're supposed to be, but it just makes it a bit of a ball ache, you know. So you just got to make sure you've got that. Get your pliers on there, hold that side, and really crank that down nice and hard.
It's a bit like the repo parts are just factory parts that are not just come off the factory line, the production line. They're not really built to last, whereas the older parts were...
Well, they're not fettled. Somebody's making those distributor caps.
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't fit on there.
Yeah.
You have to sit there and file off all the little Bakelite bits and ridges and stuff, because they're not fettled afterwards.
Yeah.
They're not like it's a bit of a difference between a Velocet motorbike. Every nut and bolt on them's handmade at Velocet.
Yeah.
You can see all the turning marks in them. Whereas you get onto something like that, they're just stamped out bolts.
Yeah.
Like Aston Martin engines. It's got the builder's name on the top of it.
Yeah.
Every single one. You know it's halfway right. You
Yeah.
know. You pay your money, you take your chance. Reproduction parts. The amount of stuff I bought for Harley Davidsons, true to original spec, they're freaking miles out.
Yeah.
You'll get a crank pin for them that's like 3 foul oversize. So you buy a crank pin that's standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good. So you get order all new standard bearings and everything. Don't fit. So you have to stick them in the lathe and get them machine ground down and all
And if
that.
you don't know what you're quite doing, you must be thinking you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,